Hi guys, today I just want to give you 3 heroes of each role to counter certain team compositions. Let's go! First up, the tank heroes, and we have Beleric, a tough guy with high HP and pretty decent crowd control skills, but his real superpower is bouncing back damage. If you pick him against the right team, you gain a massive advantage. Beleric is like a bouncy shield against enemies who deal loads of little hits. Heroes like Kimi, Chang'e, Irrital and Claude are perfect targets for Beleric's skills. Just position yourself wisely and let his passive do all the magic. Next on the list is Johnson, a tank with awesome crowd control and a good dose of tankiness. This guy can be a real game changer for your team, and here's why. Johnson is your go-to pick when you're facing a team loaded with physical damage heroes, like 4 or even 5 of them. The more physical defense you build on Johnson, the bigger his shield from his passive becomes, and his first skill's damage get boosted too. You'll become an indestructible wall against their attacks. Johnson also loves riding shotgun with certain heroes like Odette, Kadita, Badang and Karina. Team up with them and you're ready for some epic action. Last but not least, meet the agile tank Basha. He got some serious defensive moves and a nifty anti-heal effect that's super effective. Basha is the perfect counter against teams with healing and shielding masters like Estes, Uranus or Florin. His skills reduce a whopping 30% of the healing and shielding effects of enemies, making them wish they never crossed your path. Oh, and his passive reduces incoming damage. Basha excels against those pesky heroes who deal lots of small damages. So be smart and use his strengths to your advantage. Also, if you think a certain hero misses, which can counter really well, please share your knowledge by writing which one you use and what kind of hero is the counter. Alright, let's dive into the world of fighters. 3 of them that can totally counter the enemies. First up, we have Alpha, a popular and strong for both jungle and XP lane. This guy packs some serious area of effect damage skills with low cooldowns. But the real magic lies in his ability to deal amazing true damage to enemies. If the enemy team has heroes with high defense, like Grog, Johnson or Edith, Alpha is the perfect choice. True damage ignores all that pesky defense, so you can deal some heavy hits against them. He's a fine fighter, so keep your eyes peeled for the right moment to pick him. Now let's talk about Yin. This cool cat is usually picked as a jungler. He deals a good amount of damage, has some crowd control, and his ultimate is just mind-blowing. When he activates it, he and his target get locked into a special area to fight it out for a few seconds. You can imagine how much those heroes who struggle in 1 vs 1 or close combat hate this move. Heroes like Sicilian, Estes, Veil and Gord are super easy to counter with Yin on your team. Trust me, Yin is one hero you should definitely pick more often. Lastly, we have the OG fighter Argus. This guy knows how to deal loads of damage with his basic attacks, has good mobility and a wonderful ultimate skill. When he uses his ultimate, he becomes invertible for a few seconds, which is incredibly useful against certain team compositions. Especially those high burst damage heroes shiver in fear when they see Argus coming. He's the perfect counter against combo-centric heroes like Karina, Saber, Hayabusa and Natalia. Spoiling their combos mean you've taken out one effective killer, and that brings immense value to your team. Alright, let's talk about the awesome assassins. I've got 3 super useful ones to share, starting with Saber. This hero has decent mobility and can deal massive damage to a single target. Unleashing his full combo on an enemy is a piece of cake, making him extremely effective at taking down foes one by one. Whenever I face an overpowered meta hero or an annoying opponent, I bring out Saber to show them who's boss. Fanny, Estes, Arlott or Noveria are just a few examples of heroes that Saber loves to take down. And if you're ahead of the enemy, you can swiftly eliminate them in one combo. Next up is the fierce Karina. She has become quite strong lately, and when you build her right, Your damage can erase the target's full HP. I particularly love using Karina against teams with heroes who have relatively low HP and poor movement speed. It's almost a guaranteed kill in those situations. Heroes like Layla, Eudora, Mia, Hannibal and Xavier are just trembling when they see Karina coming for them. Then we also have Harley. This little mage is quick on his feet, dishes out incredible burst damage and can even jungle like a pro. His ultimate combined with his first skill deals serious damage, making him a formidable assassin. Harley is my go-to choice when facing teams with low mobility and no escape skill. Against heroes like Nana, Gord, Odette, Diggy and Kimmy, he can unleash his full potential and secure some easy and satisfying kills. Then we move on to the mage heroes. First up is Esmeralda, and she's totally one of my all-time favorites. This girl has awesome mobility, all defensive abilities and still packs a punch with her damage. She's a pro at diving into enemy towers, but what really sets her apart is her ability to steal shields from foes. It's a genius move against heroes who rely on shields like Lolita, Johnson, Hannibal and Liu. Just use her first skill, get close to those shielded enemies and make their shields your own. How cool is that? Next on the list is the fabulous Eve, a hero that counters certain types of opponents beautifully. She's got some great poking skills, dishes out some strong area of effect damage and her slows are just fantastic. Those slows are particularly handy against heroes who like to fight up close and personal. With Eve's skills on target, fighters won't be able to get close to the victims. It's the perfect strategy against heroes like Leomord, Cho, Belmont and Freya. Slowing down enemies like there's no tomorrow is so satisfying, and that's why Eve is an amazing addition to any team. Last but not least, let's talk about Valor, the fiery hero. He can burn enemies to a crisp with his skills, and as long as he keeps hitting them, he can continuously fire his first skill. It's like a never-ending blaze. His first skill not only deals damage, but also leaves the target burning for a few more seconds. That's what makes him so incredibly useful. To really maximize Valor's potential, you need the Burning Wand to keep dealing damage to the target. But the real star is the Necklace of Durance. This item reduces healing and shield effects on enemies for a whole 3 seconds, even after Valor's passive burn effect ends. So if the enemy team relies heavily on healing, Valor is your guy. Let's talk about the sharpshooters, the Marksman heroes. First up we have amazing Leslie, who can counter 2 types of heroes. She's a true damage dealer from a distance, which can be a game changer in certain situations. Just like Alpha, Leslie is super effective against heroes with lots of defense, such as Grog and Johnson. But that's not all. She can also take down heroes with high attack range. Heroes like Layla, Clint and Cecilian are no match for Leslie's impressive basic attack range. She's a versatile hero with some awesome abilities that can adapt to any challenge. Next in line is the formidable Carrie. She's another true damage specialist, but her approach is a bit different. Carrie's passive makes her deal true damage based on the total HP of the target, so she's an absolute beast against teams with relatively high HP. When you face a team with a tank as the roam hero and another tank at the XP lane, like Hylos and Uranus, Carrie is the hero to pick. The more HP the enemies have, the more effective Carrie becomes. Keep your eyes peeled for opportunities to face off against high HP heroes and unleash her power. Then we have Beatrix left. She's a marksman with different guns that allow for various playstyles. The cool thing about Beatrix is that she boasts high DPS with her Grey gun, making her formidable in 1 vs 1 fights against opponents with less DPS. You have a big advantage in those battles. On the other hand, her green gun deals insane burst damage. It's not the easiest to aim, but it has a nice range. With this gun, you can deal some serious damage and easily remove 50% of an enemy's HP. I recommend using the green gun against teams with heroes who have bad mobility, making it easier to hit your shots. We've covered almost all the roles, and now we're left with the mighty support heroes. Let's dive in and discover some awesome counters. First up, we have Diggy. This support hero lays down bombs that refill bushes and deal some damage when enemies come close. But the real star is his ultimate, which can be a total game changer. When Diggy causes his ultimate, it removes all negative effects from allies nearby. This is super useful when you're up against heroes with strong CC abilities like Selena, Tigreal, Sylvana or Cho. Diggy can be the perfect hero to counter these tricky team compositions. Next on the list is Incredible Estes. While he may not directly counter a specific team composition, he can make your team much stronger overall. Estes is renowned for his excellent healing, quickly bringing allies back to full HP. Everyone loves a good heal, but some heroes benefit way more than others. These are the ones who don't have healing abilities themselves. Heroes like Saber, Nana, Natalia and Jawhead, for example, gain immense advantage from Estes healing. Team up with those heroes and Estes becomes even more effective, turning your team into an unstoppable force. The very last hero today is Faramis. He can deal a good amount of magic damage, but his ultimate is what makes him a standout on this list. When Faramis casts his ultimate, all surrounding allies gain a second life. This is incredibly powerful during teamfights and can be a game changer if used against the right kind of heroes. High burst damage heroes absolutely despite Faramis. Heroes like Aldous, Saber, Karina and Harley definitely don't want to see Faramis on the opposite team. Timing his ultimate just right can lead to some thrilling and fun teamfights. So there you have it, the best heroes to counter certain team compositions. But I'm curious if you have any other heroes in mind that you use to counter enemies. Let me know. I'm always up for more strategies and tips to crush the competition. As always, thank you for watching and I'll be seeing you again in the next guide.
Victory!